This is the Tapped In Podcast, the podcast for beverage distributors that want to empower their sales team to drive business results. Listen up and welcome back to another episode of the Tapped In Sales Podcast, your podcast for beer distributors by beer distributors. I'm your host, Bud, here with Moneyball Ross. Mike is off again this week. He can't cut it on the road. I'm sick too, but I don't care. We'll continue to plow through. Meanwhile, Mike is at the pharmacy right now getting drugs to try to feel better. So too bad, Mikey. You are missed. You'll be back again next week, I'm sure. He's going to have to be with me on the road, so he better get his crap together from how he sounds after today. So we will see. But we got a little...
At least are you going somewhere warm next week? Let me see.
Oh, no. We're going to Iowa.
You're going to need your warm pants.
Yes, I'm going to need my warm pants for sure, which I will be having my warm pants. They're all clean and pressed and ready to go.
I think the wind will get you up there, too.
100%. I got my big jacket and everything. I love it. Well, Ross, we got a little bit of news to go over today. Coming off the back of January closing out, right? We're getting a rundown on how January sales finished. And one of the things, because we've been talking about how non-alcoholic beverages, NA beer, NA wine, NA spirits will play out, dry January, everything else. The NA category has crossed 1 billion in sales. It is still less than 1%. If you look at 110 billion in sales annually across all of beverage alcohol, so it's still less than 1%. But crossing a billion is a big deal. It's up 18.5%. The NA beer category, right? NA beer is 83% of the category. About half of the buyers, just short of half of the buyers, are buying again or rebuying. But 73% of buyers are first-time buyers as well. So Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, that's kind of the core of the group. And, big numbers, right, Mikey? Or right?
Not Mikey.
Not big numbers, right, Ross?
Well, what's the base? What's the percent growth?
Looks like 18.
We saw like 2% growth of non-alcoholic beer in January versus I think we saw that in a different report.
It might have been a different report. It looks like 18.5% growth on NA beer. Yes, the category grew by 18.5%, or 158 million, as reported by the trade press, to 1 billion in sales, and that's the latest 52 weeks to basically the end part of January.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's what we've talked about a lot on this podcast in terms of where things are going, especially with this new cohort of non-alcohol drinkers. I just don't think the volumes that they're going to end up drinking in this category are going to make up for what we're losing on the other side. But again, I think we all know that. What concerns me too is, going back to our predictions, is that the rate of growth slowing. And, this shows 18%. That's just great overall. But I think I saw 2.5 on another report for January, year over year, dry January, which the report was saying was good news. But again, decelerating growth is in a category that's saturated, getting more saturated is dangerous.
The word on the streets from a lot of clients of ours is that the productivity per SKU is waning as well. That the SKUs are becoming less productive little by little. And that with what you just said, that the category is becoming more crowded and everybody's rushing to try to grab that little pot of gold to steal the quote from Rick a couple podcasts ago on Find Your Running Lanes, if you want to hear what he had to say about the NA category too, that we're all running over to grab that 1% sliver. And it's funny how he said all of this in the early part of January, and then all the data comes out to completely support his position along the way too. Now, the other piece, to your point, so total beverage alcohol sales fell 3.4% last year. But this grew 18.5%, but it's only 1%. So that 3.5% is, what, 6x bigger than the 18% growth or whatever.
I think your math might be off if you're at 1%.
I'm sure it's way off, but it's way bigger.
The decline in beers were 3 times the entire category of NA.
Exactly. There we go. Okay. So it's that much bigger than it, and it's like it's tough to get on the other side of that, right? You just got to keep building the base little by little. But if it's going to have slowing growth, like how are we going to get on the other side of it?
I mean, the good news is, I mean, the margins tend to be higher in that category. That's good. And NA as a whole is bigger than just NA, you know, this category, right? You know, the energy drinks and all that. So there's more to the story on NA as a whole than just what we're talking about here, right? This is like NA alcohol.
NA alcohol. Yep. What I still think the category is missing is that NA better for you, and they haven't communicated that NA better for you except for Michelob Ultra. Everybody else is just NA for NA's sake. But I don't think that the carbs, again, I'm going to keep harping on this, the carbs and the caloric intake of most of these NAs are not low for the most part. It's high carb and usually pretty high calories.
Well, I mean, the hottest non-alcoholic beer in the world, as we discussed, is Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
There's that landman thing again.
I don't think that's changing, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
I mean, Ultra's doing really well. I mean, it's bucking the trend. And I think we'll get into it, but I think AB's doing a really good job with Ultra. You know,
They're moving the needle, it's growing, and they're in the right place at the right time with the NA game. The 2-for-1, it's NA beer, NA plus better for you all at the same time. Have you tried any of the NA wines, Ross?
unfortunately, yes.
I started to see them more and more. Are they any good?
I mean, I went to a party, man. It was terrible. I mean, we ran through our wine that we brought, and everybody else didn't drink. They all, you know, just to be, you know, social, they brought some non-alcoholic wine. You know, they're all sitting around drinking. Yeah, it's not bad. I took a sip of it, man. It was god awful. God awful.
What makes it bad?
Like, tastes like shit, bleep. I mean, it was like all the worst parts of everything. Like, it was like I would have rather just drank grape juice. I mean, it was that. So I was having a conversation with ChatGPT about it because it inspired me. So I'm like, why doesn't somebody take like really nice high-end wine, let's say like a Cannabis or something, right? And put that bleep in a high-end centrifuge and suck and spin the alcohol out and then settle that. Why are you trying to make wine if you're not good at making wine? AI didn't like my line of thinking here, thinking it would not taste the same, but I don't know. I mean, I think there's got to be a way to make this stuff not taste like ass.
Nobody would want Camus to be dealcoholized with a centrifuge. Why not?
I mean, if you like wine and you don't want to be drinking alcohol anymore, there's got to be a market for this.
It's got to be your fair point.
I mean, AI said it's going to strip out a lot of the flavors, and that, you know, the centrifuge process is harsh. You know, it'll take the texture out of it. And AI was not liking my thought.
But if they do that, because they do that for a lot of beer already anyways, I don't know why it wouldn't work for wine similarly.
Yeah, that was exactly my thinking. Like, what my first run-in with this was like the kombucha industry and then centrifuging the alcohol. And to me, that seems a smart way to do it. But to be fair, a lot of these NA beers don't taste to me like the real deal. And I don't know how many of them are centrifuging versus a different process. I'm not educated enough on the process.
Maybe we should have somebody on to educate us to the process.
I think we should.
It's not a bad idea, is it?
We're just two dumbasses shooting the shit here.
Exactly. Yes, might be a good idea. Move into one of our next subjects around taxes. So like NA beer and in the growth of NA as a category, that changes some of the tax outcomes too. And you got a bunch of states that are going through and thinking about changing their tax setup around a bunch of different things. So we've got, and I want to talk a little bit about the tax setup of way beverage alcohol tax works. It is what I think is called a regressive tax, right? So the more you tax it, the less consumption that may happen. And you actually never get back to the new quotients or dollar figures or taxes that you thought you might gain. So Ross, walk us through that like economic principle from your perspective around beverage alcohol taxes.
Well, I mean, the theory is, I mean, and there's no such thing as a good tax, right? And so, well, you know, maybe I'm gonna upset people there.
Show your libertarian colors, my
Yeah, I'm
man.
going deep, man. I'm going libertarian here. But the idea, anything you tax is a disincentivized to whatever you tax. I think that's undeniable, right? You tax the consumption of cigarettes, in theory, there'll be less cigarette consumption. You mean tax it too much and you'll push it all to the black market, which is what we've seen a lot in the marijuana space, right? But it's a disincentivized to whatever you tax. So, you tax stuff on the import and you're going to reduce imports, right? I mean, that's the whole idea of the tariff piece, which is, whether you're pro it or against it, it's undeniable that it's going to reduce the imports. Hopefully, if you're, can't trump that it'll increase domestic production. I don't know how we're going to fire up these factories from the 60s, but that's the general idea, right? With alcohol, the idea is that you tax it, there's less consumption. Now, there's substitutions and those sort of things that come into play. It's a dynamic market. But yeah, in general, taxation should be a disincentive.
What's interesting about a couple of these recommendations or legislations or whatever is that in Colorado, they're proposing it as a fee, not a tax, which is just another name for a tax. And they're doing it based on, cents per case, cents per case of beer, cents per case for wine, and dollars per case for spirits, expecting to raise $20 million as well. And, this isn't a fee. This is a tax. It's not a tax. It's a fee. But what's interesting about it is that it needs to be approved by the voters as well. So it'll be really interesting to see how that gets approved or doesn't get approved by the voters. And then
is this an additional state tax on top of alcohol, or is this for non-alcoholic products?
It's for alcohol. It's total alcohol beverage sold in the state. So they're not calling it an excise tax. They're calling it a fee for every case sold in the state.
Where's the lobby action in our industry on this one?
Probably against it, and probably for all beverage alcohol together. What's great about these things is that from a legislative perspective, it brings all the parties together. It brings all the suppliers uniformly together with the distributors, and we get serious about fighting these excise taxes or these fee taxes back as well. They're just a more efficient and effective way to talk about raising taxes with folks for the states versus these kind of regressive taxes. I think the perfect example is like total sales tax is easy. VAT taxes are easy to steal some of the stuff from Europe, and also property taxes. If you want to raise the most money the fastest, and this is the reason why we haven't done this in the US is because it's probably scary about how much money we would raise, is moving to a VAT tax. Like if we did do a value add tax like what they do in Europe, Ross, how much money any individual state would raise on that would be pretty incredible. And you're grabbing more money from a wider base of folks because everybody in America is a consumer. We're on balance more consumers than we are producers.
Well, I think you're in Europe. You have a European Union, but it's more of a the countries still are their own individualized taxing authorities. The United States is different because we have a federal and a state. We're federation of states, and only more recently in our history has our country become more centralized, more federal. That wasn't necessarily the intention of the founders. Well, we're making this the libertarian episode. Here we go. But I don't think the VAT works in that respect because that's where the states are getting the large chunk of their income because they're already doing a state tax or a sales tax. So I think that a VAT tax would be very unpopular on top of a state tax unless you roll it together. But keep in mind, in some parts of California, sales tax is over 12%. So how much higher can you go? Can you go to 20%, 30%?
That is very true.
So I think that you got to look at tax as a whole. And I don't disagree. I think that I would rather that we tax consumption than tax income, right? Because again, going back to anything you tax is disincentive to the action, and you want to incentivize people to work, and at the expense of consumption and savings, right? To me, that makes sense. I think in a large part that's not possible because the way the Constitution is written, taxes have to be apportioned, which means on its face, a VAT tax would be unconstitutional. That being said, so is a federal income tax, but somehow we've got around that. So,
Well,
it's one of those things where we got to put it in place for a crisis, and we'll take it away when the crisis goes away.
But like weighing like a state or a state sales tax, bringing a state sales tax up a half a point or a quarter point would be more effective dollars and cents for the states than picking on any one industry or any one excise tax for a product or any other way, like what they're doing with beverage alcohol. That's my big takeaway with that, because a state sales tax is basically a VAT tax.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's every segment of the chain versus, because I mean, it's tax from producer to retailer to, so that's a little different than a sales tax, but because it's on the value chain. It gets taxed. Every position will move on the value chain.
It's just the last mile.
Yeah, going back to Colorado, I mean, I wonder to what degree this is also because the revenue they've made from cannabis has declined. I mean, when they legalized cannabis, they were on the first. They came in and their tax revenues were just explosive. I mean, it was all over the rags how much additional tax revenue Colorado was making. Well, now that the rose has fallen off the bloom, is whatever the expression is, those revenues are not what they used to be. But like with any state or government, you get used to the income, and you get sad when the income declines, and you look for it elsewhere because you've already spent it, you've already allocated. Because the worst thing you can do is give government extra money. They're going to find a way to spend it. They're not going to save it. That's ridiculous. So. Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much of this is tied to the reduction in tax revenue from the weed side. But again, if you tax alcohol more, you're just going to drive more consumption towards marijuana. There's substitution value,
or somewhere else.
Or somewhere else, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, or maybe it's over the hey, I mean, I hate to say it, but it may be more pharmaceuticals. I mean, it's not a crazy thing to say. I mean, there is an issue with that in our country as well, and it's not taxed because it's medicine, right?
Well, it's funny you would say that, because in New York, there is a bill to increase the excise tax on retail alcohol by a 5% tax on retail alcohol. And part of this, the shifting of the excise taxes that currently go into the general fund, the new revenue would go directly into the state's drug treatment and public education fund. So right now, that would mean that alcohol taxes are going to support drug treatment and public education, which is largely a problem driven by the opioid crisis and the pharmaceutical companies and the legalized pharmaceutical drugs that are abused as well. As part of this, there is a separate bill that would direct an existing opioid tax to the same fund, but currently, that if they don't both pass, then the opioid tax would not actually go into this fund as well. So that would mean that alcohol is getting a higher tax rate than what it has in the past, and would be going to fund somebody else's problem they've created on the pharmaceutical side in a lot of ways too. And I think that the drug treatment and public education fund probably handles a lot more than just, alcohol abuse, and also opioid abuse, or, pharmaceutical drug abuse, and anything else, street drug abuse as well. But it would be kind of bullcrap if beverage alcohol was kicking into the fund and nobody else was.
Well, I mean, I don't think the optics of taxing somebody's medicine are good. I mean,
that's a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, like, after I broke my leg, I got some opioids.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was 20% more expensive, who are you hurting here?
And it's a fair point as well.
I mean, nobody ever has prescribed me alcohol for anything. I mean, maybe during the 1920s they did, but it's been a while since we did.
It is a tough battle between, like, where have those drugs been misused and how have they been misused, and also mismarketed way back when the opioid crisis happened, as that they weren't addicted and everything else. We all know that that's not true, and that was a farce. But we're still dealing with all the effects of that working through the system on the social side of the game as well. Then we've got a couple folks on the state side too that are looking at moving the BAC down to a half a percentage point as well. So we're moving that down. I still like, I bring this up just because it's not good for beverage alcohol and particularly like the on premise game and the resurgence of the on premise. But moving the blood alcohol level from 0.08 to 0.05 doesn't solve the problem of what the people who are out on the road drinking and driving that shouldn't be. People who are at that level are not the fear. It's the people that are at 1 to 1.5 or more. Those are the folks that are the problem and the repeat offenders. And if we really want to solve the problem, we got to get serious about putting interlock-in devices on cars rather than continuing to just lower the alcohol rate over and over and over again. You wind up and you gum up, in my position, you wind up and you gum up the process with people who are not an issue rather than actually solving the problem of the people that are actually the problem.
Well, I'm going to say something maybe unpopular, but unfortunately, the way our country's designed is that the infrastructure isn't designed for public transit.
No, it's not.
So read between the lines of what I'm saying there without me saying it. But I think that the good news on the horizon is, and again, I don't think you can legislate your way out of this, but unless we somehow became Europe overnight.
Or Japan.
Or Japan, the proper infrastructure. That ain't going to happen. But I think there is light at the end of the tunnel here in respect to self-driving.
100%.
And there's two things coming in that respect. One is the cars will be capable of full self-driving. They are already from the Tesla perspective, right? And those internal cameras are smart enough to know if you're paying attention to your newspaper or looking at the wheel, right? So they're probably smart enough to know if you're inebriated. And there's going to come a day when it's just safer for everybody if these cars are driving themselves, whether you're intoxicated or not. And I think there'll be a lot of lives saved as a result. The other piece that's coming is, self-driving taxis. So that'll probably show up on the scene later this year, especially in Austin. I mean, it already has with the Waymos, but Uber's showing up with robo-taxi. So that's about making public, it's almost making it a cheap commodity, right? We take the driver out of the equation. All of a sudden, is it, would I rather drive my car and pick it up in the morning, or is it $2 to take a robo-taxi? Oh, by the way, if I get in my car, it's going to take over anyway. So I don't want to say it's a legislatively stupid to legislate this, but I think it's going to be a moot point in 12 to 24 months.
Let's play with that a little bit around self-driving cars. So it's a positive from beverage alcohol category for our industry from the on-premise, all case in point of what you just said. Get customers home safer. We don't have to worry about the drinking and driving. Potentially the cost of, taking an Uber or a taxi depreciates and goes down because there's no labor involved. So you can take them more regularly. There's not this weighing around like events, right? You go to events, surge pricing takes over, the lack of demand or lack of supply increases the cost. Maybe you're more apt to take to drive yourself home when it's, $100 an Uber or $150 an Uber rather than when it's 22 or when it's 10, right? So that kind of we'll play with that kind of goes by the wayside, or we have more capacity out there to kind of manage around some of those issues, or that it is cheaper. At the same time, that's a positive tailwind for beverage alcohol, right? If we take these gig economy workers off the road, the way that people are making money, is that a bad thing for beverage alcohol or for overall consumption as well? Or do they find their way to another job? The economics principles say they find their way to another job in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, that's the whole argument going back to the Luddites and the Industrial Revolution.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I would be hard pressed to draw a correlation between that and alcohol. I mean, if we're going to be charitable about the long term, we may have more leisure time, right? Because if productivity continues to increase, which it's starting to move more on an exponential basis, right? So as AI continues to disrupt category after category, I mean, just look at the stock market this week. All the narratives around AI disruption of what industry is getting taken out next. Is it going to be, Salesforce got taken to the damn woodshed. Zillow got taken to the damn woodshed. I mean, everybody's getting woodshed, right? I mean, at some point, there'll be more leisure time if we continue to see exponential increases in productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, do people with less, more leisure time drink more? Probably, unless they're watching Huberman podcasts, and that's what
They
they do
did
with their
during
leisure time.
COVID. They had more leisure time during COVID and they drank more.
So I'm reluctant to say with more free time they're going to drink more. They might be life coaching it up.
I'd be life coaching it up in free time. Yeah, to me, I've always thought that it would be a positive thing, net positive, because I think about all the times. I don't know the last time you and Shanna went grocery shopping. Sarah and I don't go to the grocery store anymore. Anytime anything we need gets brought to the house for the most part, and maybe go to the farmer's market on the weekend. But there's going to be tons of jobs for bringing stuff to people's homes and other needs that these Uber gigger workers or drivers will be reallocated out to something else that's going to continue to grow or continue to need people, from what I can tell so far, and at least in the early side. So it's funny that we kind of like walked into that same piece around self-driving vehicles as well. Or Elon might have a robot that's just going to drive the car, whether the car is self-driving, the robot's self-driving.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be an interesting couple years.
100%. Ross, did you watch much of the Super Bowl, my man?
I mean, I was at a party, but you know what annoys me about Super Bowl parties? I've never been to a Super Bowl party where I could actually watch the game. The volume's always too low.
Chattering, yeah.
I just can't. I miss the commercials. I miss the show. And it's funny because I don't give a damn about football. And about halfway through the game, I found my wife and I were the only ones actually watching the game. Everybody else cared.
And you were actually
that's what we're here to do. We're here to watch this game, right?
Yeah. We're here to watch the game, drink some wine for your friends, maybe some non-alcoholic wine, and
scream at each other about the damn halftime show.
Oh, the halftime show.
I mean, how many arguments got started over that shit?
Well, Sarah and I were solo. We did not do a party or anything. So there were no arguments about what halftime show, what it was or what it wasn't. I did notice, I don't know if you saw this, it was like, believe that's Jessica Alba sitting in there or dancing in there as an extra. And Sarah's like, no, it's not. And then I got up and I went up and I was like, she's right there. And then the camera angle cut perfectly. And Sarah's like, oh, that is her. They had a couple other celebrities that I think I saw cut one or two more. I don't know their names. I just recognize them. I don't know celebrities' names really well, but they had a bunch of people out there that weren't just extras.
Yeah, it's like you're at the party, you're just waiting for the first person to say something freaking political. Drop that bomb on the floor.
Hey, I don't speak Spanish. They didn't understand anything of what he said. Who cares at the end of the day? Move on to the next problem. They're just trying to distract you from something different anyways.
Well, I mean, if the idea was to get people to talk, then they succeeded.
They did succeed, yes. But Budweiser secures its 10th number one win when the USA Today ad meter. So incredible. The ad, I loved it. I thought it was great. It's really fun. It's a mix of fun, humor, the brand and the good branding and all the brand that it has, and little patriotic message as well too, right? So all good stuff with a little fun at the end of, no, the sun's in my eyes. I'm not crying. As well.
Well, I think we heard about that coming off Samcom, that the marketing was good. And I think that it landed. I think there was a lot of enthusiasm and coming off of Samcom from the distributors that went. And I think, again, credit to AB where credit's due. It was the right marketing, and they're funding the right things. I mean, I dare say they learned their lesson on the marketing front.
Also, did you see the Budweiser commercial did great, the Bud Light commercial did good, the Ultra commercial did good. I liked the Ultra commercial too. Those all fared well in the ad meter. Did you see the Svedka vodka commercial? It was an AI robot and they look like.
I did see that. Yeah.
It's like it's AI made of from iRobot from the iRobot movie, drinking vodka, and it's just like, I don't like AI generated commercials to begin with. And then why are we having a robot drink vodka? And it just doesn't resonate with me at all, which is why it was dead last. Basically, it was second to last, 53 out of 54 commercials with a 2.8 out of
I think
5.
if you get anybody in their quiet moment, it's like, you and I play with AI a lot, and we built like agents and stuff. But there's a part of us that are like, this could destroy society. Like, we've all seen iRobot. That movie's not a great story about what happens. And then you hear Elon being like, "Don't worry, we're going to send an over-the-air update to our cars that are autonomous." And oh, by the way,
That's the over-the-air update when all the robots turned red in the movie.
It's exactly what happened. And then he makes his damn robot Optimus look exactly like the one from the movie.
To me, I want to have a connection with an advertisement of somebody that I identify with or aspire to be. And I don't aspire to be a robot. So it doesn't make any sense to me to identify or aspire to be that person. So I just don't get it. If I was marketing or was in marketing, I would be running away from AI generated stuff. Yeah, it's cheaper to create and everything else, but people are looking for authenticity in the world of more and more AI, where it's less and less human connection, less and less human created content. I would be going as completely in the other direction of one-on-one human content, or some kind of still aspirational marketing still drives results. And, that's where I think we saw some of the stuff that did well this year is aspirational, funny, humorous is still driving results in the marketing game. Any of the off the beaten path ads that you did love, Ross, that you did get to see?
I mean, I caught the one where they're chasing a keg down the
that was the Bud Light one.
I don't know.
That was the Bud Light one. It did good. It was funny, and they've got all the celebrities in that one too.
I know. It's like it's that token commercial where you just get all the celebrities to hang out. It's like, hey, we're throwing a party at a place in California. Why don't you guys all show up and film a commercial?
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, the horse with the eagle. I mean, come on.
The horse with the eagle is good.
I mean, come on. It's an eagle and a horse.
It's good. It still worked. It worked good for us. It's enough for those of us who've been in this forever. It worked good for us.
When I asked, whatever happened to the Bud Bowl?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know when the Bud Bowl quit quite some time, but it did end.
Now, I can't remember. In my memory, like when I was a kid, it was at parties and like it was on TV. Yeah. Did they change channel, or was it like a commercial that they bought and like gave you updates on the Bud Bowl?
I think it was a commercial. They might have done it both ways, but I think it was a little bit of both. We could do some quick Googling and understand what it was. But yes, too bad Mikey's not here because his father-in-law was on the creative crew at AB that kind of did a bunch of that work in the early 90s and mid 90s with like the Super Bowl and the Bud Bowl.
I missed the Bud Bowl.
The Bud Bowl was great.
Part of my childhood. Yep. My dad drinking Michelob, like the original Leap.
Yeah, and, way back when.
Like Amberbach. Michelob Amberbach is what he drank.
Yeah, the original Bud Bowl debuted in 1989. So it's a legacy. I mean, it's been around for a while. And let's see, they did it 89, and they did it every year, pretty much every year until 95. And then they skipped a year and then did the last one in 97. Bring the Bud Bowl back. Ross wants the Bud Bowl back.
I mean, I can't imagine it's affordable to bring it back. Oh my gosh! I mean, it was a full-on game with updates.
If you were to run the Bud Bowl, so it was Budweiser versus Bud Light, would you run it Michelob Ultra versus Bud Light, Michelob Ultra versus Bud? Would you run it Michelob Ultra versus Cutwater in their brand families?
No, you got to bring it back to the original.
The original, the Bud Light.
And I think they were like tap handles that were playing the game. So it has to be the original tap handles too, like the old school red one and blue one.
It was bottles with helmets on.
Oh, it was bottles with helmets. Okay, maybe my memory's not good.
Yep. Yeah, everybody was bottles with helmets on with little footballs running around. It was cool. I remember it well as well. But it has been a hot minute since it's been back.
So we got to bring back that. We got to bring back the damn frogs. And
frogs are the best.
And Doobie Doobie Doo.
Not very many people are going to remember Doobie Doobie Doo with Bud Ice.
Come on.
With the penguin. I know.
That was fantastic.
I know. Well, you didn't call out.
It's so good. It almost made me drink a Bud Ice.
You didn't call out one of the best ones, which we didn't. You didn't call out one of the best ones, which was the "What's Up" commercial from back when too.
I didn't love that one.
You didn't love that one because everybody did it until it was incredibly annoying.
It was annoying.
Yeah.
It was like Beavis and Butthead, man. I just, I get it. It's a cultural thing. But at the end of the day, it's just annoying.
I have one more thing that has been bugging me.
I'm sure there's people yelling at the screen or their earpods right now.
Oh, I'm sure there are. 100%. We need to remember info@vxptech.com if you have any comments around what we're missing out on as well.
Oh yeah. About how
the last thing, Ross, have you been out to eat lately with a big group at all? This is more of an annoyance thing of like in your memory. This is Bud thinking about the on-premise world and what I think we as an industry, both us, beverage alcohol, and also the industry operators, the partners that we work with in the on-premise. I've been out to eat with a handful of groups lately, and if the whole group isn't there, I don't know who started this, but why are we not getting sat as groups or members show up? We have a reservation. We're not standing around. If I'm standing in the lobby waiting to be sat, I am worth nothing to you. And I don't understand why the industry of the on-premise world has started this direction of where making people wait to sit down until their whole group is there. It makes no sense to me. We had a group of 6 people that went out to dinner together on Monday. We stood there for at least 5 or 10 minutes. It felt like 15 or 20 until we got our table sat. And there's nobody waiting to be sat. Meanwhile, we could have been a drink or at least a drink order or an appetizer order with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, half the group into the night. And it makes no sense to me. Have you noticed any of this too?
I mean, it sounds like you're kind of fired up about this. Do you want
this has now happened to me enough where I'm annoyed by it. I'm going to start talking about this more because it is bugging the hell out of me.
I mean, I can't remember the last time it happened to me. And I feel like it was somewhere like that, they're turning tables. Like it was full. They were turning tables.
That's okay. But when you're showing up on a Monday night.
And there's a Thai restaurant here that'll let you know that you've eaten too long. I tried to order a second beer and they said, you're done.
You're done. You're done. Get out of here. Yep. We're going to
you don't want my money? No, get out.
Yeah. I don't mind if they're trying to manage a turn, like, hey, your table's full, we need to turn it, or packed restaurant tonight, thanks for coming in, love to invite you to join us at the bar for a cocktail to start. Unfortunately, we're full and we're waiting for your table to turn. That's a different animal. But this is like, is your whole party here? Our restaurant is half full and we do not sit anybody until your whole party is here. It weirds me out. It don't make no sense. And then the other piece is on site this week. Everybody's got these Toast CRMs now too. The restaurant's half full and they want my number. I'm like, just sit us. Like, I'm ready to sit down and start to eat. It's been a long day. I've been up since 5 a.m. working with a client. Like, I'm ready to sit down, have a beer and eat. Don't need a number. It took them 5 or 10 minutes to punch a number in because they were brand new training somebody. I almost sound like the old man kicking people over here, but they were brand new.
You're sounding a little old there, bud. Customer service.
Putting people together. Hey, when you've been on the road like this back to back weeks, this stuff is starting to wear on me for sure.
You'll be on here 24 months from now bitching about how it was a robot serving you.
Something like that, probably, yes.
You said you wanted chicken teriyaki and it didn't understand what you wanted to ask him for.
I would never order just chicken teriyaki. Oh, I love it. Well, good stuff today. So if you like what we're doing, continue to listen, like, and subscribe. Mikey sends his best. Sorry that he missed today. If you had any questions, comments, things, we got a couple good topic episodes coming up the next couple weeks. More topical, not so newsy for next week and the week after. You can hit us up at info@vxptech.com. That's info@vxptech.com. Until then, have a good week. We will be back again here next week. Cheers, Ross, and cheers to the crew.